Okay, I'm here in San Isidro, General Santos, and the subject today is if any man will not work, neither shall he eat. If any man doesn't work, he's not supposed to eat. That means, good morning, by the way. That means it helps us to see to whom we're responsible for feeding, like a basic need, right? Eating is a basic need. Babies need to be fed. They can't work. They're not even willing to work. They can't even think about it, okay? So when you consider your responsibility as a foreigner, as you come into the Philippines and everybody wants you to feed them, I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying if somebody wants you to feed them, a little boy on the street, an older person, a family, a Filipina, a town, a barangay, whatever, if somebody's expecting you and asking you to feed them, I want you to think about that teaching, that statement, if any man will not work, neither shall he eat. That's a Christian teaching, that if you even have a Christian brother who's able to work but not willing, you are not to feed him, right? Because that attitude that he has is a bad character flaw. It's a bad vibe, and you don't want to encourage that. So as you come into the Philippines as a foreigner, I'm telling you that it's a bad character trait to be giving people money and feeding them when they could do it themselves. They're supposed to. You're interfering with God's calling in their life. Are you interfering with their responsibility towards God to take care of themselves? So if it's somebody that cannot work, you notice somebody that cannot work, a relative, a friend, a girlfriend, a fiance, a wife, a relative of your wife, if they cannot work, hey, that's a candidate to try to help if you have extra. That's the second point. You know, God doesn't expect us to share with others unless we have extra. If we have extra, then it's okay to share it. You can keep what you need, man. In fact, you can, and there's even a teaching in the gospel, you can keep everything you have, and if you're just not happy to share. But God is pleased with people that are happy to share, people that have extra. So, you know, when you come to the Philippines and you're not familiar with this culture, you know, foreigners that come from Western countries that have good incomes, paid off houses and stuff. When you go to Kenya, you know, years ago, 40 years ago, whatever, you go to Philippines, whatever, and you start spending money on everybody, they start to get the impression, which they have, you didn't do it, you weren't the first one to do it, they start to get the impression that foreigners are here to pay for everything. And you're getting out of your responsibility. It is not your responsibility to pay for everything for everybody. So if any man is not willing to work, neither shall he eat. All right? That doesn't mean to starve him. That means he needs to get up and do something to earn his living and pay for himself and carry his own burden. People that cannot carry their own burdens, they are legitimate people to take care of. All right? People that cannot take care of themselves. Old people that just can't work, they're crippled, you know, crippled people. These are truly legitimate people. A child that has no relatives, no mom and father, and no relatives. In the Bible, it tells relatives to take care of the widows, not the church. The church Christianity is not to take care of every widow. There's specific requirements, even more than that will blow you away. You're not being charitable when you give money to people all the time. Some politicians think if they tax you and give it to the people they think are charitable causes, they think that's charity. No, taxation isn't charity. Charity is freely given without punishment by law if you don't do it. Okay, so you know, there's a lot of bad concepts on, a lot of bad thinking, a lot of character flaws, a lot of bad character vibes, personality vibes about giving. And if you can get your head on straight before you come here and understand who is a legitimate person that you can share with, if that's what you want to do, it's up to you. If you're willing and happy, that's between you and God. God loves a ready and cheerful giver. It means ready in that context. Willing, a willing person. Like when they came to Jesus, or if you're willing, you can heal me of this leprosy. He said, I'm willing. He was cheerful in that definition of it. It didn't mean he was smiling. It meant he was ready to help that person. So if you're a person that is ready to help somebody because you have a little extra, the candidate needs to be somebody that's not able to care for themselves. I mean, that will guard you, and you will not be naive. You'll be wise, and you'll be happy. God will be happy with you. You know, But God's going to think, and I'm going to think, and other people that know this are going to think you're a fool if you just keep spending money on everybody, thinking that's your job. All right? So, if any man does not work, it's a generic term. It's a generic term. Man, mankind. It represents peoples, men and women. If any man will not work, neither shall he eat. Ask that person, are you willing to work? Yes. Okay, then he needs to get a job. Or if the job market's a little tough, I understand that. He may need a little help. But he is not your responsibility. All right? You're your responsibility. You're to take care of yourself and your own people that you have legal obligation to before God and man. Your wife and kids. All right? And your parents before God. If you don't help your parents when they're needy, when they're disabled from work, then you're sinning big time. You need to take care of them. And so, if any man will not work, neither shall he eat. So everybody that asks you for money, there's this little kid here. I don't put him on video because I don't want to get in trouble. You're not allowed to video people here in the Philippines without their consent. He just when I started the video, he asked me for money. A little teeny kid stuck out his hand and said, "Can I have some money?" And my typical response, which I learned from somebody else, is please don't ask me for money. You know, please don't beg. This kid's able, he's walking around. Where's his parents? It's right here at this place here. Where's his parents? And what relatives does he have? The relatives need to take care of him. So let me leave you with this one final example to try to get it into your mind and into your psyche and into your personality that you can absorb this stuff. So in the Bible, there's an example in the New Covenant that says, if anyone has dependent widows, let her take care of them. That means the daughters or the relatives, the aunts, whatever, even women are to take care of women widows. That's the context, that's the subject, so that the church will not be burdened. The churches and Christians aren't here to take care of everybody's needs. That God expects you to bear your own burden, and if you can't bear your burden because you're disabled, somebody's supposed to help you first, your relatives. See, that's what's screwed up about America. Women in America for decades know they can get pregnant and get money from the government and don't have a guy around, and just get money because they have kids, a certain amount of money, and live in the slums. All right, that's not God's will. That's not charity. They're interfering with the American government's interfering with her responsibility to take care of herself and her kids and the father and the relatives. The relatives are supposed to do it. So you got to understand the difference between charity and false charity. Taxation isn't charity, not at all. It's under compulsion by law, or you'll get punished. Charity in the Christianity is your freely giving of your own will, not under compulsion. It says that, quote, not under compulsion. That's charity. So, get your head on straight. You're going to get over here, foreign men. You got to understand how to behave and what you're called to do by God. And I hope this clears it up, and I appreciate you listening. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good day.